Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants and to another year of picking and predicting the Oscars. If you haven't seen any of my other videos like this, what I do is I tell you what I think will happen at the Oscars, and then I also tell you what I think should happen at the Oscars, which is usually two very different things. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that typically I'm pretty confident in my guesses because I've done fairly well. This year I'm not. Just letting you know up front. This year at the Oscars, award shows in general seem to be losing their mind a little bit, so it's making me a little bit nervous when I try to make these predictions. So I am a little bit less confident than I typically am because some weird things have been happening. That being said, I still think that I've got a pretty good grasp on what's going on, so I'm going to give you my predictions as usual, and of course also tell you what I think should happen. So first up, obviously I'm going, what I do every year is I go in order of how it's listed on the website, not how they do it on TV, because I don't even know what the order of that is anyway. It's just listed in an order on the website, so I'm going to go through the website and give you my thoughts. So first up, we have actor in a leading role, and the nominees are Adrien Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Colman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. So every year I mention this, but it bears saying that the Oscars, award shows in general, really love when you play a real person for some reason. And I get why to an extent, because it's harder to play a character based on somebody rather than just your own imagination. You can just do whatever you want as an actor if you are playing somebody that never existed. So it's a little bit harder playing somebody like Bob Dylan that Timothée Chalamet did. And so you're more likely to win an Oscar or get nominated for an Oscar if you're playing somebody real. That being said, Timothée Chalamet, I think, has zero chance of winning. I think he wouldn't have been nominated for this role if not for playing somebody real. So I think that was the boost he got. It's not going any further than that. The interesting thing was, going into this, I was super confident that Adrien Brody was going to win for The Brutalist. But then the controversy with AI happened, and now I'm not so sure, because there's not a real clear-cut answer to did they use AI or not. There were claims that they did, and then they denied it, but they kind of took too long to deny it, and so that's been ingrained in everybody's head, and so I really don't know what's going to happen there, because it seemed obvious he was going to win, but that controversy really, it depends on how people feel about AI. I don't know how they do in the Academy, so I still think he's going to win, but it's not as clear-cut as I would have said before, but I'm still going to pick him as the winner. If he doesn't win, though, if they choose to go in a different direction, I think that Ralph Fiennes for Conclave has a very strong case to win as well. He would also probably be my pick, by the way. It would either be him or Colman Domingo. I thought they were both great. Colman Domingo for Sing Sing. Back when that movie came out, I thought he was going to be the clear-cut candidate because he had kind of not been snubbed, but he came really close to winning previously, and so it was like, now is his opportunity, playing a character based on somebody real, so, good shot for him. People are more aware of Bob Dylan, so the impression isn't as important for somebody like Colman Domingo's character. I still think that there's a boost there, maybe not as big of a boost, but I think it's going to be Adrien Brody, like I said, and if they choose to avoid him because of the AI, then it would be Ralph Fiennes, and I'm okay with that if that's what happens. Next up, we have actor in a supporting role, and the nominees are Yura Borisov for Anora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Ed Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So once again, people playing real people. Ed Norton was nominated because he played a real person. I love Ed Norton. I think he's a great actor. This role wasn't really Oscar worthy, but because he was playing somebody real, he got that boost and got nominated. I don't think it's enough, though, to warrant an actual win. I think just the nomination, just a pat on the back, is all he's going to get for that. Who do I think is actually going to win, though? Kieran Culkin seems to be the pretty much universal pick for Best Supporting Actor. and I think he's going to. I really do. There is a chance that Guy Pearce could win for The Brutalist, because The Brutalist, if they don't get knocked for the AI stuff, seems to be the Oscar darling this year. It's been nominated a bunch of times. I think we'll come away with more than just a couple of wins. So Guy Pearce for The Brutalist has a strong case, but I don't think anybody is going to beat Kieran Culkin, and I'm okay with that because he's my pick too. I will also say Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing should have at least been nominated, because that's a very interesting case of actually him playing himself. He's a real person playing himself in the movie Sing Sing, and he did phenomenally well. I mean, it's a little bit confusing because it's like, is it great acting if you're playing yourself rather than a character? And I get maybe that's why they didn't go with a nomination, but I was still shocked he didn't get nominated, and he definitely deserved to more than a couple of people on this list. Next up is actress in a leading role, and the nominees are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Mikey Madsen for Anora, Demi Moore for The Substance, Fernando Torres for I'm Still Here. I do want to point out also that I think Emma Stone for Kinds of Kindness should have been nominated. And honestly, I'm a little bit shocked because I thought that there would be, based on how the award season was going, there seemed to be some groundswell for, trans actors and actresses, and Hunter Schafer was right there. She had a great performance this year. I thought she should have been nominated. I don't think she should have won, but I would have been cool with her being nominated. I know that, horror doesn't typically get a whole lot of nominations, but I mean, Demi Moore for The Substance got nominated. Why not Hunter Schafer for Cuckoo? I think she would have deserved it. But anyway, weirdly enough, they chose to only nominate 4 actresses this year. Don't know why that happened, but yeah, so like I said, Cynthia Erivo, Mikey Madsen, Demi Moore, and Fernanda Torres. I think this is another pretty obvious one where Demi Moore is going to win for The Substance, and it's kind of crazy, like I said, because the horror thing, but if they weren't going to have her win, I don't think she would have even been nominated. It seems so weird to pick an actress that was starring in a horror movie, but her performance was brilliant, and I'm not mad that I think she should win. She's my pick as well. Like I said, Emma Stone and Hunter Schafer should have been nominated, and I wouldn't have been mad if either one of them won, but from the list here, I mean, Cynthia Erivo, she was good in Wicked, but that movie isn't really an Oscar movie in my mind. Mikey Madsen, I wouldn't be totally shocked if she won. I thought Anora was a bad movie, and I don't think anybody involved in that movie should win an Oscar, but I wouldn't be shocked if she did. And then Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. I don't think that's an Oscar winner performance either. So Demi Moore for The Substance seems like the obvious pick here. Frankly, it's a weak category this year. Not exactly sure why. I think we skipped over some better options we could have nominated. But regardless, Demi Moore seems like the obvious pick here and is my pick as well. Next up, we have actress in a supporting role. And the nominees are Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and weirdly enough, Zoe Saldana got nominated for Good Burger 2. Not sure how that happened, but you know what? Good for her. I don't think Zoe Saldana's performance is worthy of an Oscar, but she's been in a lot of great movies, and I think they're kind of trying to give her a little bit of payback for that. But yeah, so I want to mention, by the way, I know, once again, a bit of a weak category it seems here, but there were better options. I've been, beating the drum for Kaylee Spaney for the past few years, and she was, once again, a great supporting actress in Civil War this year. I think she could have and maybe should have been nominated, and the big shock, the big snub here is Margaret Qualley for The Substance. I think not only should have been nominated, but should have won. She's my pick. She didn't even get nominated. I think that's weird, but you know what? It happens. So of the people that were nominated, I think it's between Zoe Saldana and Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. She had a very small role, but she was brilliant. I thought she stood out. Of the people that were actually nominated, she would be my pick. I'm kind of leaning towards Zoe Saldana winning for some reason. I know, Good Burger 2, what a random movie, but she got nominated for it. She wasn't in anything else this year. Isabella Rossellini, as good as she was, I feel like she didn't have enough screen time to win. I hope I'm wrong. I think she would deserve it. I think that there's a strong chance that she could win. But I just don't know that she had enough screen time. Hopefully I'm wrong. And then Felicity Jones, I think, has a strong case as well. Once again, mainly because it's The Brutalist. I like Felicity Jones. I think she's a good actress. But I think it's mainly The Brutalist thing that, like, they're probably going to try and throw Oscars at that movie if the AI thing isn't a big deal. I don't know. And that's where I'm kind of like, I'm not so confident because it's just a weird new area we've never ventured into before, so I'm not exactly sure how the Academy is going to respond. Also, Ariana Grande, I think she's going to get a couple of votes. I think people will throw votes her way. I think really the only person that's not going to get a whole lot of groundswell here is Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. Once again, she probably got nominated because she played a real person. Good for the nomination, but I don't honestly think she's going to win. Next up, we have Animated Feature Film, and the nominees are Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Now, once again, if you've watched these other videos or you keep up with the Oscars, you know the typical answer is always going to be Pixar, Disney wins every time. But DreamWorks does come in and sneak up and win these every once in a while. I mean, the first ever animated feature film Oscar went to Shrek, actually. And I think this is one of those cases where Inside Out 2 had a lot of groundswell around it. I think people enjoyed that movie a lot. But I think The Wild Robot just feels more like an Oscar movie to me. And if you saw my review, you know I wasn't a huge fan of that movie, but it feels like an Oscar movie. So I think The Wild Robot's actually going to win. If it was up to me, I wouldn't pick either, though. I would pick Wallace and Gromit, just because I enjoyed it the most. Like I said, didn't really enjoy The Wild Robot too much. I thought there was too much going on in it and not enough actually being said. It was a little all over the place. Inside Out 2, just not a huge fan of that either. So Wallace and Gromit would be my pick. But like I said, I think The Wild Robot will win. Good chance that Inside Out 2 could win as well because like I said, that Pixar thing, it's really a two-film race. I don't think Flow, Memoir of a Snail, or Wallace and Gromit, really any of them have a chance at all. Flow maybe, but I don't think the animation is good enough to win. So I think, yeah, it's going to be The Wild Robot or maybe Inside Out 2. Next up, we have Cinematography, and the nominees are The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Maria, and Nosferatu. And I have to say, couple of really major snubs here, because Conclave is my pick to win. It should have won. It should have at least been nominated. Man, that movie looked good. I couldn't stop raving about it, my first thoughts of it. But then also Challengers. How did that not get nominated? That movie looks phenomenal. Both of those look better than most of these nominations. I mean, Nosferatu and Dune Part 2 obviously both had to be nominated as well. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been, but I think Challengers and Conclave without a doubt look better than everything else that was nominated. So I don't know how they weren't nominated, but whatever. So between the ones that actually were nominated, I would probably personally pick Nosferatu to win, but I don't think it's gonna win. And I think it's really between The Brutalist and Dune Part 2. Now, like I said, I would pick Nosferatu, so I'd be happy if it won. I'd happily be wrong about this. But I think, like I said, Dune or The Brutalist is going to win. And once again, it comes down to the AI thing. Because I think they would pick The Brutalist to win. But if they don't because of AI, then it's going to be Dune. So this is, once again, I feel so out of my depth here because I really just don't know how they're going to react to this controversy, because The Brutalist would be, taking apart the Oscars this year without a doubt, but this AI bugaboo is looming large over everything. So I'm picking The Brutalist, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dune wins instead because of the AI stuff. Also, I mean, Dune 2 does look great. Next up, we have Costume Design, and the nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. So it's funny because every year when I talk about the Oscars and, costume design, I always kind of just go with the period piece because the Oscars love period pieces. And then you look at the nominees. A Complete Unknown, period piece. Conclave, not a period piece, but they're dressed in old-timey stuff because they're popes. Gladiator 2, period piece. Nosferatu, period piece. And then Wicked, not a period piece, but kind of outside of time and this weird fantastical stuff. So, yeah, I can't just follow the typical rules here. This is pretty tough. Also want to say, Dune Part 2 should have been nominated. That's my pick. I thought the costuming in that was fantastic. Of the actual nominees, I would pick Nosferatu, I think. But I don't think Nosferatu's going to win. I think Wicked's going to win. I'm actually going to go with the one that's not a period piece. I'm going to pick Wicked. But I wouldn't be shocked if Conclave won. I wouldn't be shocked if Nosferatu won, really. Yeah, the only one I would be completely shocked if it won is a complete unknown. But my official prediction is Wicked. We'll see, though. I am not confident. Next up is Best Director, and the nominees are Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, James Mangold for Complete Unknown, and Coralie Fairgay for The Substance. I do also want to say my pick was not nominated yet again, and that is Edward Berger for Conclave. That movie was hands down the best movie this year, and a big part of that is the direction is phenomenal. So I think Edward Berger should have won, but like I said, not even nominated. So of the people that are nominated, I would personally pick Coralie Fairgay. I thought she was fantastic. I thought the movie had such a very visceral and personal feel that, like, that's how you know a director is heavily involved, because it doesn't feel like anybody else could have made it. And I wouldn't be shocked if she won, and I hope she does, because who I think is going to win is Sean Baker for Anora, which I already said don't like that movie, and I don't think anything about it was particularly good, but I think they're going to want to try and throw at least one Oscar Anora's way, and I feel like Best Director is where it's going to be. But once again, I wouldn't be shocked if they go the Brutalist route with Brady Corbet. Haven't heard a lot of groundswell around him, but that is a possibility. And then also if they want to go, once again, the kind of political route, I guess, if you will, by picking a female director for The Substance with Coralie Fairgay, I wouldn't be shocked either. Like I said, I don't think you even have to say it's a political thing. I think that she, of the nominees, deserves it the most. I just, once again, you know, with the horror thing and it just doesn't feel like an Oscar movie. But maybe they will. Maybe they'll surprise me, and maybe they'll go that route. I'm feeling Anora, and I really don't want that to be true, but that's what I think is going to happen. Next up, we have Film Editing, and the nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, and Wicked. And once again, I don't know how Challengers didn't get any nominations. To me, it had by far the best, most interesting editing this year, and would be my pick easily. But clearly it wasn't nominated, so I can't predict that or pick it. My pick of the ones here, the ones actually nominated, is Conclave. I think it had great editing as well, once again, along with, you know, everything about this movie is perfect. I think it's so much fun to watch. And so I think Conclave actually will win too. It's my pick, and I think it will actually win. I wouldn't be shocked, though. Once again, The Brutalist, there's that dark cloud hanging over it, but I wouldn't be shocked if they go that route. Anora is another movie that if they're trying to throw Oscars at something, they might go that way, because film editing, frankly, is... I've talked about this before, where there's Oscars that are deemed lesser Oscars, which is stupid, because things like film editing or sound editing, it's like the Academy doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to that, so they just deal with these Oscars like, I don't know, throw it at the movie we want to win the most Oscars. So if they want The Brutalist to win the most, or if they feel like Conclave isn't getting enough, or Anora should get one or two, they may throw it at one of them, even though Anora, or I don't remember anything about the editing in that was particularly interesting, but it got nominated. Or Wicked. Wicked got nominated. Why? What was the editing in Wicked? Nothing. Nothing in that movie was interesting at all as far as editing, yet it gets nominated because we just have to pick something to nominate, I guess. But not Challengers, because that would be crazy. Next up, we have International Feature Film, and the nominees are I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and flow. Now, typically, it's pretty obvious which one's going to win because it's whichever one is also nominated for Best Feature Film is going to win Best International Film. That's just obvious. So, in theory, I'm Still Here should win then. And it's going to be either I'm Still Here or Flow, or, you know, if something else wins, then that could happen too. Oh, man, it would be crazy if... Never mind. Never mind. And as far as which one I think should win, I don't care. I have no vote on this. Next up, we have makeup and hair, and the nominees are A Different Man, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Now, so typically, once again, makeup and hair, they love a fat suit. If you got a fat suit, like The Whale or something like that, it's gonna win, typically. That's how it typically goes. There aren't really any notable fat suits this year, though. So what is comparable? Big, gross monsters, I guess. Sorry to all my fat people, I'm one of you. So The Substance makes the most sense. And that would be my pick as well. I thought the makeup was really good in that. I also wouldn't be shocked if they went with A Different Man, because having... Sebastian Stan wear that heavy makeup to appear like, I forget the other actor's name, but that seems like something that they would also do. So I think it's between those two. I think Nosferatu and Wicked both also had good makeup. I mean, obviously, Cynthia Erivo is green the entire time, and it looks good. It's not a very hard effect to do, but it does look good. And Nosferatu obviously has Nosferatu in it, Count Orlok, and so he... looks interesting. I don't think it's Oscar worthy, but he looks interesting. So really, like I said, I think it's between The Substance and A Different Man. I'm going to predict The Substance here. Not super confident, but I'm going to predict that, and I'm also going to pick it for myself as well. Next up, we have Best Original Score, and the nominees are The Brutalist, which was composed by Daniel Blumberg. We have Conclave by Volker Bertelmann. We have Wicked by John Powell and Stephen Schwartz, which is crazy because it's not really an original score. We have The Wild Robot by Chris Bowers. And then, of course, so many snubs this year. Dune Part 2 by Hans Zimmer is probably the one everybody's talking about. Challengers by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross is my personal pick. It was a phenomenal score. Should have been nominated. Don't know why it wasn't. It's not like there weren't other things we could have taken off this list. And lastly, The Substance by Rafferty also should have been nominated. Love that score. So I would take those three over any of the ones actually nominated. But if I had to pick one of the ones nominated, Conclave also had a great score, and I would pick that one. But I don't think it's going to win. I think they're going to give it to The Brutalist. But it's between those two. I guess maybe The Wild Robot has a chance. Or if there was like another musical, like, I mean, Wicked, but like I said, that's not really an original score. So if there was a musical that came out that was an original musical, that may have a chance, but unfortunately we don't have any musicals other than Wicked come out last year, so I don't really think there's any other options. I think it's between The Brutalist and Conclave. Yep. Next up... we have Best Original Song, and for whatever reason, only 3 nominees this year. Weird. And the nominees are The Journey from the 688 by Diane Warren, Like a Bird from Sing Sing by Abraham Alexander and Adrian Quesada, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late by Elton John, Brandi Carlile, Andrew Watt, and Bernie Taupin. For me, obvious answer is Like a Bird from Sing Sing. I thought that's easily the best song we got, best original song, and the most Oscar feeling, but I really don't think it's gonna win for some reason. I think either Elton John's is gonna win, or maybe, I don't know, something else. But here's hoping for Like a Bird from Sing Sing. I think it is definitely the best choice, and it's my pick, but I can't officially have it as the prediction because I don't think it's going to win, but I hope it does. I think something else is going to win. Hopefully not. But if something else does win, I hope it's Elton John. And then next up we have Best Picture, the one everybody cares about aside from the actor and actress, and the nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Now, I think personally this is a 3-horse race. I don't think anything really stands a chance other than Conclave or The Brutalist, really. And I think, once again, it comes down to the AI thing. My official vote is Conclave, because I think it would just be so ironic and so much fun if the plot of Conclave gets acted out in real life as all of the other people have these controversies and fall one by one. So I'm picking Conclave for my prediction. I'm also picking it because it is, to me, by far the best movie to come out last year. But so Conclave is a prediction, but I wouldn't be totally surprised if The Brutalist won, because, like I said, controversy may not matter as much as I think it does. I also would not be shocked if they gave it to Anora. That is the third horse in this race in my mind. Once again, don't get it, don't like the movie, but I wouldn't be shocked. There's also a really outside chance, I suppose, that The Substance wins. It would be kind of like when Everything Everywhere All at Once won and they just go completely bonkers. Like, I love that movie and I thought it should win. I was fine with it winning, but it just doesn't feel like an Oscar movie. Conclave does, The Brutalist does, Anora does. And that's where Anora isn't nearly a good enough movie to win Best Picture, but it feels like one of the most likely to because it feels like an Oscar pick. So that's where it's like Dune Part 2 doesn't feel like an Oscar movie. A Complete Unknown doesn't feel like an Oscar movie. The Substance doesn't feel like an Oscar movie, but it is so good that maybe it will win, but I really don't think it's fourth. It's fourth on the list in my mind. Next up, we have Production Design, and the nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. And once again, this is one of those Oscars that it feels like they just kind of throw at something that they want to have Oscars. I feel like half the people that are in the Academy that vote go production design. I don't know what that means. I guess it was a good production. So that one, I like that movie. It's like, do you know what that phrase means? Doesn't seem like it. So yeah, my personal pick is Nosferatu. I mean, the way that movie looks and feels, it felt like I traveled back in time 20 years to, like, Lord of the Rings when that movie came out. Like that, it was crazy how gritty and real everything felt. And the way that they were using, like, natural lighting and candle lighting instead of electrical. Like, oh, it was so beautiful. And just the sets felt so real. And I couldn't believe what I was looking at. By far the best production design to me, but I think it has zero chance of winning, if I'm being honest. I think the most likely to win is Wicked, because it feels like an Oscar production design thing, where they're like, oh, what is production design? You know, like the Barbie kind of thing. Oh, it looks interesting. Give that, colors and stuff. I don't know. But there's a chance that also The Brutalist or Conclave could win. My official prediction is Wicked, because the AI thing with The Brutalist is scaring me, but I would also not be shocked at all if The Brutalist wins, because AI doesn't matter to these people. God, I'm not confident at all in anything. Next up, we have Sound Editing. And the nominees are A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. And once again, my pick is not even nominated. I would pick Nosferatu. I thought the sound in Nosferatu was so cool, where they made the castle breathe. It was the breath of Nosferatu. It was Count Orlok breathing, and you could just feel it and hear it. So good. You know what else was great with their sound design was Conclave. I thought that movie sounded brilliant. And I just, having now edited sound on a couple movies, you really pick up when a movie, the sound mixing is right. And it's done correctly. It's so rare. And the two movies that did it right this year weren't even nominated. So who knows anything? So of the ones nominated, I don't know, man. I guess I would pick Dune. And I think Dune probably will win because, there's fun sounds and that. They have to engineer sounds. It's sci-fi. You gotta come up with new, unique sounds, so that's cool. It's not really sound mixing, but sound editing encompasses both, not just the mixing, but also the engineering, making up new sounds and stuff. So I think they're probably going to go with Dune because of that. But they also love musicals when it comes to sound editing. So I wouldn't be shocked if Wicked won as well. But I think my official prediction is Dune Part 2. Next up, we have visual effects. And the nominees are Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. And I feel like there's a pretty obvious answer here, and it's my pick as well, Dune Part 2. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a lot of CGI there that does look very good. Alien Romulus also has a decent amount of CGI. It doesn't look nearly as good as Planet of the Apes does, but both look pretty good. Wouldn't be totally shocked if Planet of the Apes won, but I don't see anything beating Dune for this one. It's by far the best looking movie in these options. Wicked, I mean, there were some CGI animals, but nothing special there. Dune Part 2 feels like alone in this. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a distant second, and Alien Romulus, much even lower, a distant third. So yeah, Dune Part 2. Next up, we have Writing Adapted Screenplay, and the nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. And I think my pick obviously is Conclave. I've done nothing but talk about how much I love that movie. And the script is, a big part of the reason why. I mean, the story is compelling, even though it's just people walking around and talking and, kind of like a political thriller almost. It has to have a snappy script, and it does. It is a brilliant script. I didn't read the book it was adapted from, so I can't really give an opinion on that, but as far as the script goes, the script is brilliant. I would also say Sing Sing 2 is a great choice. I'm going to go with Conclave as both my pick and prediction, but Sing Sing is a close second for both my pick and prediction as well. Last but definitely not least, we have Writing Original Screenplay, and the nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, and The Substance. I will also throw out, I think DD deserved a nomination. Understand why, not like butthurt over that, but I thought that was a very good script, and I would have loved to see it get a nomination. But of the ones, and even including DD, I think my pick is far and away A Real Pain. That was such a brilliantly written script. I thought Jesse Eisenberg he blew away any expectation I had for him as a writer and director. Great script. Totally should win. But it won't. Because I think Nora is going to. Doesn't deserve it at all, but I think it's going to. I think it won the Palme d'Or. It was The Substance that won Best Screenplay, which I think is probably the third pick to win Screenplay. I think The Brutalist still has a better chance. I think it's between Anora and The Brutalist. But, The Substance did win the Best Script at Cannes, so I wouldn't be totally shocked if it won, but I really think it's between Anora and The Brutalist. And because of the AI thing, and because Anora is such an Oscar-feeling movie, I'm going to go with Anora. But, yeah, not super confident on really any of my picks this year. I'm very curious to see how AI plays out with everybody's votes. I'm also very curious to see how all the controversies play out and how politics come into this, because politics have already taken a heavy toll on the Oscars, even within just the nominations. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen, what terrible movies win. Hopefully none do, and hopefully, Conclave can just sweep, and, we'll figure it out from there. But yeah, those are my picks and predictions this year. I'll be stoked if I get more than half of them right, because this is such a weird year. What do you think is going to happen? Because your guess is as good as mine. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.